one of the questions that I have, what I always love being a researcher first before I went into production, is this idea that research is also driving some of the robotics and innovation, because I think we talked about, or want to talk about a little bit, the difference between a therapist directing some of the artificial intelligence with a robot.
Yes, so there are a number of different research efforts out there where they are using artificial intelligence to interpret and enhance therapies with the children. Some people feel that therapists are expensive and that a robot in the home will be a better answer. With Romibo, we use absolutely no artificial intelligence. We're not replacing therapists or parents at all. Our goal is to allow them to assess the situation and decide how best to respond to that child to address their individual educational needs.
So it's not replacing therapy,
it's not replacing a therapist at all.
So getting a robot and bringing it home is not going to be different. It's just a tool to use to help us with that.
And I think that's an important point too, and it's important with all the apps out there as well too, is that they should be tools. Almost just in response to the comment from the audience member before, is that all these things should be used as a tool. Really. Well,
and to enhance, right, what we're already learning, and to bring it home. Do we have any other questions? Yeah. Let me get you the mic. Yes. Thank you. Hello. How are you? Good to see you. Here, I'll hold it for you.
I had a question. The robot, has it been able to open up kids more socially?
Absolutely.
Has it?
Absolutely. I had a situation where there was a completely nonverbal boy that I had been talking to a doctor, and they said, okay, bring your robot, and I'm going to bring a patient of mine, and we'll see what you can do, right? And so this completely nonverbal, fairly severe boy comes in and completely ignores the robot. So as the boy's roaming around the room, picking at things on shelves, it's a mobile robot, so we had the robot follow him and continue asking, what are you doing? Can you show me? And then eventually the boy picked up the robot and started showing him and started smiling so much at the robot. And this is a very minimally expressive child. And after he was done showing the robot things, he sat it down on a chair. He didn't throw it down, didn't leave it in the corner, sat it on the chair. And it's stories like that where kids, are being really expressive and really engaging that we're seeing over and over again with the robots.
Carla, it's really amazing to see the applied level of psychology and psychiatry done to this technology. Do you see that as the trend moving forward?
Yes, I know it's definitely the trend that the funders want to see at National Institutes of Health. I mean, that we should be taking all that we've learned about autism. I mean, it feels sometimes like really slow progress, but we have learned a lot about how kids with autism think and process information. We know a lot more about some of the subtle deficits that we might not, might not be apparent, like that children with autism don't naturally learn that a German Shepherd and a Poodle are both dogs. And so we can try and teach some of those things now with this technology that, in new and exciting ways that really appeal to kids with autism. So it's definitely a trend where you see all different aspects of research being applied.
And the awareness, I mean, it's only, you've only been around 10 years, right? The awareness is definitely
Yeah, that's a
building.
great point. Yeah, the awareness there, and really the amount of time we've been doing a lot of this research here. It really hasn't been that long.
Right.
And it's important for us to be able to like Carla had said, to pool all those resources together, make sure that we are talking to each other. The research community is talking to each other, so we can maybe alleviate some of this time that's taking place here, where the researchers are bringing it out to the real world. So it's extremely important.
Yes, definitely. I think we have another question. Hello, what's your name?
Anthony.
Hi, Anthony.
We've been talking about apps and technology, and I would like to shift gears to social media. Recently, I've stumbled upon a talented young teenager, Carly Fleshman, who's nonverbal autism, who expresses her feelings and thoughts through social media with her blogs. Is there anybody out there that you know or that you follow or that you would just want to tell anybody about within the social media realm.
Yeah, if I may, Autism Speaks actually, we nationally just recently, about a year ago, there's a young man who, Carrie is his name, and he does a blog called Carrie's Corner. And about a year ago, Autism Speaks hired him in our social media area. He's on the spectrum, and he graduated with his master's degree. He just graduated with his master's degree, and Autism Speaks immediately hired him out of his master's program, and he is doing some wonderful things on social media for us right now. But Carrie's Corner is his blog, and I certainly would advise everyone to jump on there and take a look. He's doing some great things. He just wrote his first book as well too.
Oh wow!
Absolutely incredible.
Can you tell me about the blog? Like, what is it that she's writing about?
Well, right now, I just within the past 48 hours, I found her. But I watched a 2020 special on her, and then I watched a short 5-minute video where she took the perspective of sitting in a coffee shop with her sister and her dad, and you're only seeing inside of her mind. And you see all the sensories coming in at once, and then you see the people looking at her. So it was very thought-provoking. It really touched me, and I just wanted to express that.
Yeah. I got the chills. I mean, I think that's so important, right, to be able to see it from the perspective of the child so that we could at least be more empathetic or understand it in their shoes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Any other questions? Yes. Hi, what's your name? Here, come on this side of me, apparently.
I'm Ida. I was just curious as to how many schools in the Pittsburgh area are benefiting from this technology that you showed.
So in the Pittsburgh area, Carnegie Mellon has a number of the robots, but they're actually using them with some dementia patients. We do have an organization in Pittsburgh called Fine Art Miracles that has been doing classes in some of the local libraries where they're doing an art and robot therapy program, which has been tremendous for the kids. We do have more robots actually in 5 countries at this point. There are a few of them out in California, and we actually have them spanning from Romania to Hawaii. So they're out there. I'd like to see a lot more out there, hopefully soon.
Do you have a follow-up? Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Is cost a factor in trying to obtain this for the schools and for the community?
So with a lot of the other social robots that are out there, they're between, they're up from $16,000 to $30,000. However, our robots are a few $100s. We have them listed on our websites now around $500, but anybody who writes us a good story, we're giving huge discounts, and we really want to see people using them, and we really want them helping people.
And you have a T-shirt on. Is that your
I have a T-shirt. Yeah, and if you order a robot, there's a little bit of a lag time on us shipping them, but we will send you a T-shirt.
So what's coming up in the future, like 5 years from now? What do you see, Brett?
Hopefully more funding for research, really. I think research is truly where we need to focus our efforts right now. That's where Autism Speaks certainly focuses their efforts right now. A lot of the fundraising that you see we're doing out there, from the grassroots to the corporate engagement out there. We've got some really great relationships with some really large corporate organizations that are helping us out. Toys R Us, Babies R Us, they're doing some incredible things on a national level. So to see those relationships deepen, and we've only been in this research game for about 10 years. And that Autism Speaks, that is, and that's not long enough.
Yeah.
So we're right at the infancy of this right now. So definitely the more funding that we have, the better work we can do, and the better research that we can fund out there.
And a cure? Do you see a cure?
I certainly hope so. I do. I think you look at where AIDS and HIV research was back in the mid-'80s, and it was thought of as a death sentence almost. And you look at where that is now, and people are living with HIV and living with AIDS, and they're dealing with older age issues now. We certainly want to be able to see that with autism spectrum disorder, and hopefully we can see that down the road here. We just need that research happening.
Carla, how about you?
Well, I think it's kind of funny because usually you think about a gap from research to practice, and when you think about apps and technology, there's almost a gap from practice to research. So I'd really like to see some more meeting in the middle, and before we get to that cure stage, because it probably is going to be a while, how can we use all of this to better, make the daily lives of children and adults with autism fulfilled and happy, and I think I do think that this will play a big role, being able to use technology and get some of these apps into their hands to open up their voices, because I think the social media is one way, but also the apps have done a great job of that, and I think we'll see it more and more.
Aubrey, do you see technology in a way where higher level kids on the autism spectrum could actually have jobs in that area and really help push this level to another, into the future?
Absolutely. Something that has been seen out, particularly in Silicon Valley and whatnot, is that this extreme attention to detail and this ability to focus can be really good when analyzing code, when debugging games. And there are, tons of undiagnosed individuals on the spectrum working out in the valleys. So there's definitely more and more in that area for them.
Right. Definitely a positive. Any other questions that anybody has while I'm here? Oh, good. Come. What's your name?
Hi, I'm Jody. My question is, can the robot be programmed to target certain skills? If you have a child who may have splinter skills or anything like that?
The robot, so we have designed the robot to be able to say and do whatever you want it to. It's a completely open platform. In fact, the difficulty for us has been explaining to people how many ways they can use it. We've been developing lesson plans, verbal lesson plans, or lesson plans that work on physical activities.
Could you show us some of that?
It would, I don't have the lesson plans on this iPad.
So you have, just so I understand, so you have an iPad mini right there, and then you have different cues that you can press on.
Yes, I have different cues, and I can add in, any particular phrase or whatnot that would be helpful. So, for example, I can type up anything, and then
I like to help teach children.
The robot can say it then. And the important thing for us, so many of the other robots that are currently in research labs, you have the therapist wearing a headset, and you have the robot on the field, and there's a computer scientist controlling it the whole time. Now you just have your iPad, you might have your book that you're using as you're reading your social stories or whatnot, and the robot can support in whatever way you feel to be fit. And with the lesson plans we have, that's super important, because you need to know, well, how can I use this? What are the benefits? And we have, this is how long the task is, this is how many children, these are the kinds of evaluations, these are the skills you're working on. So yes, to answer your question, yes.
And is it each phrase, or can you set it for a 10-minute story?
You could make it go on forever if you wanted to. In fact,
but do you have to press each time you want it to say something?
It's as long as you type it out. So you type the title of the button, and then you type everything you want it to say. So for example, our users in Denmark, they have these really, really long sentences, and when the child interrupts the robot, they want a pause button, which is something we never thought of, because we just have the little simple phrases and we string together the sentences. But that's why we have users all over the world using it differently, is so that we can understand how to tailor it to serve all these different needs.
So in some ways, it's like having a teacher to have a student actor in the class who's doing
like a play date,
scenario with the child. That's very interesting. So if there was one thing that you wanted, this is for the panel, one thing that you'd want parents to take away from this show, what would it be?
That's a great question. I think for me is that, you know, we're to get involved really. I think our children are in the classroom. The CDC this week is coming out with some new numbers, new diagnosis numbers. I mean, we're at 1 in 88 right now, and we're pretty sure that's going to be increased significantly. 1 in 54 boys and 1 in 50 school children. So if you're a parent, it's in your school, it's there all the time. Sometimes it's undiagnosed, sometimes it's diagnosed. But really involvement is where we need to be right now. It's extremely important that that you know what's happening in your child's life and in schools as well too. So involvement with Autism Speaks is certainly a way to go, whether it's through our walks or whether it's through some of our toolkits that we have out there. But we've got all these great tools that are available to all of our families. We even have toolkits on how to take your autistic child to to get their hair cut or to get their blood drawn. These are common problems that our families deal with constantly on a daily basis. And I go back to that gentleman saying to me that autism is my life, and it truly is their lives, and it's their child's life. So the more we can have that those conversations with a lot of the typically developing children, and they can be more involved with a lot of these kids on the spectrum and adults on the spectrum now too, is extremely important for us. So involvement, and you can certainly do that through Autism Speaks.
Great. Carla?
Well, in terms of the apps, I just think the main thing is to be a savvy consumer. We didn't get a chance to talk about how expensive they can be, but they can be very expensive. So to do your research, look online. A good app should have a website about it. And then, you know, to be excited. I mean, there's a chance here where we can unlock some potential if we use these things in new and exciting ways to, you know, hear what someone has to say for the first time.
That's great. Aubrey?
So the biggest thing I'd like to say is, so far as apps and robots and everything, all these technologies, the important thing here is to help children and even adults speak more to people. You know, we're not trying to get them to be really good at interacting with technology. We want them to be better at interacting with people. And I guess a way to use Romeebo that we didn't mention is as a voice for someone who may be uncomfortable or has difficulty talking. Just last week we had a boy who, he was 14, but he really didn't want to speak a lot. So we let him program what he wanted Romeebo to say, and then we interviewed him. And that was just absolutely fantastic to get his thoughts.
I mean, I think what I would want to end with is just when we talk about screen time and we talk about limiting our screen time, it really is about the choices that we make in all of these areas. And so when you think about using some of the social stories that you can see on different television shows, being involved, understanding the apps, understanding the media, and using them to your advantage, I think we can really see a really big difference.